Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
First of all, thank you so very much for allowing me this opportunity. I appreciate the invitation from Andy. And as you can see, Andy's not here this morning, but please pass my thanks on to him. So this morning, I want to talk a little bit about Networking 101. This is not about what I do. It's hopefully a help to everyone here in this room in what they do on a daily basis. I'll give you a little bit of background on myself. I was born in Teaneck, and after 9 months, my folks decided to move north, and they found a beautiful home here in Wyckoff. So I consider myself originally from Wyckoff, New Jersey, and lived here for a good part of my youth, and went off to college up at Boston University, and moved into Franklin Lakes. Was there for 10 years, and now I've been in Mahwah for the last 26. So I'm a Bergen County boy, and love it here. It's my home, and made a lot of friends. My business is here, and it's just a great area for me and my family. I'm the father of 5. I've got a 35-year-old daughter who's a high school psychologist in a school for children with special needs in Brooklyn. I have a second daughter who is a special education teacher. She just moved to Ridgewood, and she's a teacher in Hillsdale. My third child, my oldest son, he lives in Jersey City. He's married. Forgot about my 2 grandchildren with my first daughter, 2 little boys. So my oldest son is in Jersey City. He's married, and I have a son who's 25. He lives in Manhattan. He's in financial consulting, and my favorite child is my last one. And I know that's going to sound odd, but he's everyone's favorite child. He's our youngest. He's 23. He lives at home with us, and he attends the Quest Autism Program right down here in Midland Park. So Wyckoff and Midland Park, as the Rotary is named, those 2 towns are very important to me. My wife is corporate vice president at New York Life, and she's in the area of recruiting, and she does a lot of traveling, and she was kind enough to get back last night so I could be here this morning. So first off, I want to start out with asking those who are veterans, would you please stand up? Although Monday was Veterans Day, I consider every day Veterans Day, and just a short, still stand. Keep standing. So just a short prayer for our veterans. Lord, today we honor our veterans, worthy men and women who gave their best when they were called upon to serve and protect their country. We respect them, we thank them, we honor them, we are proud of them. We pray that you will watch over these very special people and bless them with good health, peace, and happiness. And thank you for your service. Okay, as I mentioned, we're going to talk a little bit about networking, and this is my topic, Networking 101. So why are we here this morning? Certainly not because of me. We're here for the Rotary, but so why are we here? Maybe this is a question we should all be asking ourselves. What can we do to change our results, specifically based upon our attendance here today? So networking, everyone has a different definition. I have my own, but networking, according to the definition in Merriam-Webster's, is networking is a socioeconomic business activity by which business people and entrepreneurs meet to form business relationships and to recognize, create, or act upon business opportunities, share information, and seek potential partners or ventures. To me, networking is like fishing, although I'm not a fisherman. It is like fishing. The net is there to catch, and it is part of the working. For many, once in the net, you give the fish back to its home, Mother Earth. You have given, and then you will receive. For me, the following powerful quotes are the foundation of what I preach and practice every single day of my life, whether it's in my personal life or my business life. If you want something, give it. That's a quote by Deepak Chopra. And Frank said, no one has ever become poor by giving. Winston Churchill, And yes, my grandson, my oldest one, his name is Winston. We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. And then, of course, John F. Kennedy asked not what your country can do or give to you, but what you can do or give to your country. So really, for me, it's all about giving. So networking, and that's one of the reasons I'm not talking about myself really today or my business. Kind of not the first thing I want to do when I meet people. I want to find out about you, want to learn about you, and hopefully I can provide some value today. So first impressions really, really matter, because you only get one opportunity to make that first impression. It doesn't happen again. So you must seize the one opportunity you're given. As I said, you don't get that second chance. So here's a key to a first impression. The first thing, you have to have a firm handshake. It can't be one of these handshakes like this. It doesn't work. It's got to be solid. It's got to be firm. It has to be something that you do with confidence. The second thing, it's a positive facial expression. No one wants to meet someone like that. They want to meet someone that's positive, that's strong, that has a smile on their face. That's very, very key and important. The other thing is, and it's hard for me to do this with everyone in the room, but it's direct eye contact. You don't want to be looking at the floor. You don't want to be looking at the walls. You want to be looking someone directly in the eye. That's really, really key. It shows that you are engaged and that you care. Genuine interest in the other person you are speaking with. You really want to pay attention to what they're saying, their body language. Maybe they're going to talk about their family. Show empathy. So it's really, really important to do that. If you cannot hear or understand the name of the person with whom you are speaking, ask them to repeat it. Again, if you can't hear or understand their name, ask them to repeat it. Because what you don't want to do, hopefully, it's very difficult when you have a large group, but hopefully you want to try to remember and pronounce their name correctly. Do not go the rest of the event not knowing the individual's name or worse, mispronouncing it, as I said. Speak with a loud and confident tone of voice. Articulate your words and speak slowly. I preach that to my kids all the time, as I'm sure you know, kids today, and you can't understand a word they say. When you ask them again, well, I said it, you didn't understand it, you couldn't hear me? No, I couldn't. Speak it again. So what are short-term goals and what is your philosophy about networking? So my dad taught me when I was very, very young, early is on time is late, and late is unacceptable. I'm going to repeat that one more time. Early is on time is late, and late is unacceptable. Now there are always exceptions to the rule. Someone has something that's going on, try to call ahead. Let them know you're going to be late, out of respect for that person or the organization or the meeting that you're attending. So if you had a meeting with your boss, who would show up late?
Boss.
Maybe. But you wouldn't show up late. So if you're your own boss, make the right decision and be on time. And as I said, there are always exceptions, so we understand that. Set a goal to meet 2 to 3 new people at each event. If I came to this event, obviously not today, but if I came as a first-time visitor and I tried to meet everyone and have a discussion with everyone, it just doesn't work. So when you go to an event, focus in on 2 or 3 people, kind of get to know them, introduce yourself, and begin the engagement process with them. As I said, it's impossible to meet 30 people, 40 people, 50 people in one room at one time, at one event, after there's a speaker and part of the meeting, and you've got 15 minutes to network. It's almost impossible. So focus in on 2 to 3, and it'll be a win-win for you. Make it a point of heading for the people you don't know as opposed to the people that you do know. So the people who are here today, how many are sitting with people that you usually sit with? Do you mix it up? Do you change it around?
We're good at mixing up. Yeah.
Wonderful. So you guys are way, way ahead of most. That's perfect. Many don't. They usually go to a meeting and they chat with people that they do know. And I can tell you from an experience that I had over at the Ridgewood Chamber of Commerce. I went to a networking meeting at a restaurant. And one of the gentlemen that I know, he came over to me and he had my ear for about 15 minutes. And thank goodness for the executive director of the Ridgewood Chamber of Commerce. She came over to me and she said, "Mark, I want you to go meet someone." So I went and I met this lovely woman. She's a doctor in Ridgewood. We sat and talked to each other for about 45 minutes, and ultimately she became a client of mine. So thank goodness she pulled me away from the person who was, kind of, really just taking all my time. So that was a very good thing. So it's always important to meet somebody new at an event. Be prepared. Be prepared in a lot of different ways. One way is to come with business cards. Okay? If you go out without business cards, it's kind of like going out with no clothes on. I mean, you don't know who you are, and no one else will know who you are. Your business card is your identifier. It tells people, even when they leave, who you are, and it's something that they can identify. They'll picture the business card with your face, which is really, really important. An elevator pitch, and I know a lot of people have their elevator pitch down, but it's really, really important that you change it up a little bit. It's kind of like my advertisers. I ask them to change their ad monthly or every other month. You want to change your elevator pitch because an elevator pitch will get boring. You talk for 30 seconds or 60 seconds, however long the elevator ride takes, or however long the person who's running the meeting will allow you. But it's important to change it up. I know at one time I was in the mortgage business, and there are so many things to talk about in the mortgage business. We would talk about refinances, we would talk about home purchases, we would talk about paying off a tax lien, we would talk about all sorts of things, reverse mortgages, etc. So you want to mix it up a little bit. Don't stay on the same topic because people tend to get bored with it, and then you really don't get to get your message out as much as you would have that opportunity to do if you changed up your topic a little bit. And then one thing I would always suggest is keep your brand, whether it's in print, whether it's in a meeting. I know what my brand is, and it's a consistent brand. It's a consistent message. Again, the message might change a little bit, but the message is still the same. So, and I said I wasn't going to talk about my magazine, and not from a business standpoint, but from what the message is. Our message is all about community. It's about keeping it local. It's about keeping our business within the 13 towns here in Northwest Bergen County. It's about helping people in the community. It's talking about people like Lee, who has done so much for the community. And that's what we're all about, and that's what our brand is. It's not necessarily all about the glitz and the glam of people who might live in the area. Yes, there are certain magazines that do that. We're not one of them. We're more down to earth and we're more community focused, and that's just what we're all about. And I know everyone here has their own brand. That message should stay with you all the time. So be friendly and approachable. It's really important to have people begin to know who you are, know your family, know what you're all about, and take a liking to you. It's so important because I'll go to a number of meetings, and there are people at these meetings, unfortunately, are just really not approachable. They kind of hide, and it's important to go over to them, to invite them into the meeting, into the fold, introduce them, take time to take that person, even if it's by the hand, and walk them over and say, "Hey, here's John. John, does this. This is his business. He's here in town. I'm sure John can help you with your business." And learn to know what they're all about, and it will really serve you well. Set your goals and what you expect from each and every meeting. Your goals should change from meeting to meeting. I know my goal this meeting, when I came here this morning, was to really talk about networking, not talk about me and my business and who are my advertisers and who this and who that. So it's really not about me, it's about you this morning. and how I can help you, and hopefully how I can get to know you. And if you have things in this community that you want to talk about, talk to me about it. Send me an email, call me on the phone. I'm always available because we love to spread the good word of what's happening in this area. If it's about the Rotary and you have a special meeting, by all means, call me. We'll put it in our calendar of events. So those are the things that we like to do, and that was my goal here this morning. But everyone has different goals. So moving on, most importantly, and this is really the most important thing that I want to talk about this morning. Be willing and ready to give first. Receiving will come, and have patience with it. Again, be willing to give first. Don't expect to come to a meeting and receive first. Don't expect to come to the second and third meeting and expect a referral or expect something for you and your business. Come first and give, and give. It will always come back in the end, and it will come back 1,000 times over. So, again, I just can't stress that enough. It is so crucially important. Because a lot of times people will join an organization, and I see it at the Ridgewood Chamber, which I'm a member of and have been for a while, and people come, they pay their dues, it's $300+ a year, they'll pay it one time, they'll come a second time, and then they'll complain. Well, I never got any leads. Well, I didn't get any business. Well, guess what? You only showed up twice. It doesn't happen that way. You've got to come, you've got to ask people, what can I do for you? Let me learn about your business. One of the things I talked about at the chamber last week was go to a meeting and be someone else. Go to a meeting and, be that other person, or go out and advocate for them. So if I went to a meeting for, at the chamber, I might say, well, this morning I'm going to go for this particular doctor who's now my client. I want to help that doctor see if I can get more patients in her practice. She has a very different type of practice. So I might go and not talk about what I do, and I would say, well, I'm here for Dr. Call this morning. You know Dr. Call? No, I don't. Well, she's a great doctor here in Ridgewood, and she has a very different type of practice. Her practice is really not insurance-based. It's based upon the fact that you pay a small monthly fee, and you have access to her 24 hours a day. Wouldn't that be great to have her cell number? Call her. Get an answer from her. Go to her office anytime. You don't really need to make an appointment. You just have to kind of let her know that you're on your way. She'll come to your house. So if you go and advocate for someone like that, or anyone, someone's going to look at you like you have 3 heads.
Does that doctor really exist?
Yes, she does exist.
That is so cool.
And she's unbelievable. So if you go and do that, people are going to look at you and they're going to say, wow, this person is really not out for themselves, they're out for the next person. And how how valuable is that? What's that worth? It's worth, it's priceless, as MasterCard would say. Follow up on your contacts. People go and they go to a meeting, they set up a meeting, they go to an event, and they meet a lot of people and they never follow up. There's never a thank you. There's never a phone call. There's never a second meeting. There's never anything. So why'd you bother going in the first place? Right? So networking, as the word says, takes work. And it's a lot of work. It's not an easy thing. It doesn't, it just doesn't happen tomorrow. So have patience and you shall receive. So what do I do that builds the relationship? Face-to-face meetings. I guess I'm from the old school. I learned it from my dad. I like to meet face-to-face. I know everything with, the younger generation. Yes, we have younger people here. It's all about emails and, Snapchat and Instagram and Facebook, LinkedIn, and those are very, very valuable tools. They really are. But for me, it's about face-to-face. It's about meeting someone, looking them in the eye, having the conversation, seeing the body language, see how they respond, see how much attention they pay. And that's really, for me, there's nothing like that. It's nothing like a face-to-face meeting with someone. You really get to know who they are, especially with facial expressions, body expressions. And as I said, to me, that's priceless. Make a phone call and try to meet at their business. That kind of puts them at ease as opposed to inviting them to your business for the first meeting. If you go on their territory, they feel comfortable. and I do that all the time, and it really works very, very well. Try to set up a follow-up meeting. Yes, you've had your first meeting, and maybe have the second follow-up meeting. Go and meet them for coffee. Again, that's a neutral place where people can meet, and you don't necessarily feel that you're in their place, they're not in your place, you're somewhere neutral, and everyone's kind of comfortable. And then maybe at a third meeting, maybe then you'll invite them to your place, because you want them, to be comfortable with you. You want them to see what you have, your business, et cetera, et cetera. And ask how you might be able to help them with their business, with a referral, servicing them, what you can do. So again, it goes back to that same thing of trying to help that other person with their business. And it also includes, if you talk to them about their family and kind of get to know them on a personal level, what you can do to help maybe a family member. I see it all the time with my son who has autism. People hear that and they say, oh gee, my cousin, my brother, I have my own child, I have my own challenges. Is there any possible way that you can lead me in the right direction? And my wife and I love to do that. We're very involved with our son's adult program. We were very involved with an organization called NAR, the National Alliance for Autism Research, that was ultimately merged into Autism Speaks. And my wife used to chair, and I kind of was her assistant, the walkathon that was held at the Meadowlands. And every year we used to raise about $400,000. And it's all about giving and helping people. So make sure you put that on your list if you don't have it already, and I'm sure probably 100% of you do, but maybe add another one for next year. That's my resolution I've already made for 2020, to add something else to what I'm doing for the community next year. So the last thing I'll leave with you is what my father taught me. He was the most important man in my life, and I've always cherished all the memories that I had with him as his son and as his business partner. Not many children can say that they had the opportunity to work with their father and learn so much. But it was interesting, at his funeral, we had a number of the grandchildren spoke, and my sister spoke, my wife spoke, and my wife probably had the funniest line. My father was not a well man. He was, very sick for the last 10 years of his life and went through a lot of challenges and a lot of surgeries. At one point, in 4.5 months, he had 17 surgeries. So at the funeral, my wife said, my father-in-law was a wonderful man, and this, that, and the next thing. And he said, gosh, the one thing about my father-in-law, he went to every single solitary doctor that you could ever imagine. She said, wait a minute. Not really. He didn't have an OB-GYN. So, how to build your business by living and breathing 4 simple words. And these were the last 4 words that were said by me at the funeral. And this applies to anything that I do in my life, personal, business, or otherwise. And I'll leave you with these 4 words. They're very simple, but they're the most powerful 4 words in my life. Do the right thing. So thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time. Appreciate your attention. Thank you.